Central Italy in the Umbria region, close to the city of Perugia. The quake was shallow, magnitude 6.2, and was felt as far away as Rome and Venice. We are getting more information about damage. In the past few minutes, being reported, the central Italian town of Amatrice has been badly damaged. The mayor of the town saying half of it is under rubble, roads in and out cut off. We can speak to our correspondent, James Reynolds, now in Rome. James, what are you hearing?
We're hearing broadly similar information. We understand that the epicentre was around 110 miles northeast of Rome. We actually felt the earthquake here in Rome, and then an hour afterwards we felt some tremors as well. So that gives an indication of just how far that seismic activity has reached. We understand from that mayor of Amatrice, who's been speaking to the Italian media, that he's still trying to assess the damage in his town, and he's stressed, of course, that roads are cut off. Bear in mind, it is still dark here in Italy at the moment, so the true scale of what has happened may not be clear for some time, although we do understand that the central government has activated its emergency committee to deal with earthquakes.
Yes, 3:30 in the morning, of course, you'd expect a lot of people to be inside buildings. People are just seeing it on their screens now there in the caption, and the mayor's been quoted as saying by the Reuters news agency, there's been a landslide, a bridge might collapse, half the town is gone.
Again, until we get there and until dawn comes and until we get better communications with the people there, that's something that we'll just have to take the mayor's word for at the moment. Of course, it is still dark. Communications are still difficult. And until it gets light, until civil emergency committees get there, we won't know the true scale of what's happened.
I think the mayor's been talking to about people trapped under the rubble. I guess what's making people nervous, James, of course, is that this is an area with a lot of medieval buildings. The last time there was a serious quake in central Italy, at first there was very little information coming out, but it then got pretty bad.
Yes, but bear in mind that the age of buildings is sometimes misleading, because it's sometimes in earthquake areas the more modern buildings which did not follow earthquake codes, which are the ones which collapse, and older buildings which were built much more sturdily and much more robustly are the ones that survive. So I think sometimes there's a confusion between old buildings and modern buildings.
A shallow quake is often bad news, though, isn't it, for damage?
It certainly is. I've covered earthquakes before in different regions of the world where shallow quakes are much worse, because the ripples create so much more damage among the buildings, because those ripples, of course, are much nearer to the surface. The deeper the earthquake is, the shallower those ripples. Unfortunately for this area, as we've been saying, they are pretty used to dealing with quakes. How effective do you expect the Italian authorities to be? At this moment, we don't know. All we can say is what you suggest in your question, that Italy does have experience of doing this. It has experience of responding to earthquakes, because this particular area, 110 miles northeast of Rome, is an area where there is seismic activity. In other words, this simply is not a surprise to the residents there and to the authorities who've had to deal with this several times in the past before. It's always a problem, of course, with any earthquake when roads are cut off, isn't it? And certainly that, according to the mayor of Amatrice, that is going to be a problem. That will clearly be a problem, and one would imagine in the next few minutes the authorities both there and in regional areas such as Perugia will try to mobilise their emergency equipment to clear any roads which may have been blocked, so that they can get to buildings which may have been damaged. In particular, of course, their priority will be trying to assess whether or not there's anyone under any rubble anywhere. James, you know your patch very well. Umbria is very popular with tourists. How heavily populated is it? There are areas where there are cities, but there are also large areas, given this is a mountainous area, which are reasonably isolated. When you drive along these areas, or you go along by train, you'll see villages dotted on hillsides, but then you won't get major population centres for some time. So I think that might be part of the challenge at the moment, which is trying to assess the damage in each of the isolated areas. James, thank you very much indeed for that. In case you just joined us, we should say there's been an earthquake in central Italy in the Umbria region, close to the city of Perugia, felt as far away as Rome and Venice. It was shallow, magnitude 6.4, and was felt, as I say, as far away as Rome and Venice. Some reports coming through about damage could be quite bad, but we don't know for sure yet. Much more on the BBC website and on Twitter. Thanks for watching.